Today I started off with pike press-ups. I want to make sure that these are very, very easy so that I can move on to just doing handstand press-ups. The problem with pike press-ups is that they don't really get easy quickly, because as you can see, I'm going on my toes. If you look carefully underneath the bench, you will see that I'm on my toes at the bottom of each rep. So that's going to make a huge difference when you're doing your pike press-ups, because by going on your toes, you're shifting the weight onto your shoulders, and if you do that, you're kind of making the exercise a lot harder. At the start, even a normal pike press up is going to be very challenging for you, but as you get stronger, it will be easier and easier. But then there's like a little period or phase where you think that you should be moving past them and onto handstand press ups, but then each day you do them, you kind of realize that they're actually a really good exercise to do for the handstand press up, and that you can't really neglect them. So for me, for example, I can do a handstand press up, and to be honest, it's not that hard to do one rep, but to do the pike press ups is still hard. So the pike press up is definitely a very good exercise, and at the moment it's my go-to exercise to unlock the handstand press up. I would say for anybody who wants to start off with pike press ups, bend your legs a little bit, or your knees, to make it a little bit easier. As you can see here, I look like a rocking chair. I'm just going back and forward, and it's a really clean form. But at the start I wasn't like this. I actually had a significant amount of bend in my knees. This is important because if you bend your knees, what's going to happen is at the bottom your legs are going to take a little bit of the weight, but when you straighten your legs out and you go to the bottom, all that weight is going to get shifted onto your shoulders. So it's a small detail, but it makes a big difference when you're training. Personally, I like to do the back press ups on a platform, as you see here, because I can bring my chin past my hands, therefore I can get more of a shoulder workout. Doing them on the floor has become a little bit too easy for me, so unless I'm trying to press into the handstand, then I will do it on the floor. But in most cases I just do them on here because I don't want to actually press into the handstand. I want to just work on my strength only, and that's the thing. If I press into the handstand, then I'm going to work on my balance in the handstand, and then it's not really what I want to work on at the moment. I want to work on my strength, so it's better to do them on a platform like this, and then I'll be able to just do the reps, as you can see. My tip to anyone who's watching for pike press up is to train them on different platforms. So you can do it on a bench, as you can see me doing it here. You can do it on the floor as well, and then you can also do it on the parallettes or like a set of handlebars. The handlebars are going to offer the most amount of depth or range of motion, so if you really want to push yourself, do it on those. And then on the floor, it's going to be the most realistic for the handstand press up, since you are going to do the handstand press up on the floor in most cases, and it's also the best starting point. And then for a platform like this, where your hands are not gripping anything, I would say the best reason to do this one is just so you can get more depth. But all of them are good, don't get me wrong. Every single way of doing it that I've mentioned is good. The key with the pike press ups is that you aim to do it with clean form over time, so with straight legs, as you can see in this clip here, and that you lean forward as well when you do it. The lean forward is going to make a huge difference, because if you lean forward, what's going to happen is your shoulders are going to start to take more pressure, and they're going to get stronger as a result. A lot of people don't really lean that forward when they do the pike press ups, and that causes them to basically cut themselves short in a way. So I would say if you are not doing a good forward lean on your pike press ups, then place an object like a glove or something like that in front of you, and then aim to bring your nose to that object. So when you do that, it gives you like a checkpoint or where you need to go. And to be honest, it's like a good way to have the direction like that when you're starting off with a pike press up, because the pike press up is basically a movement where the form is very, very important. If you don't do the right form, then you're just going to be wasting your time. So definitely tuck your elbows in as well. That's another talking point. So if you tuck your elbows in, it's going to activate your triceps more, and that's really important as well. So as I said earlier, try it on different objects. So this is like an example of leading by example, because I actually done what I spoke about. Now I'm actually doing it on the floor. So as you saw earlier, I was doing it on the platform so my head can go past my hands, and now I'm just doing it on the floor where my head doesn't go past my hands. So this is definitely a little bit easier because the range of motion is smaller, but it's still very important because most of the time when you're doing a handstand press up, you're going to be doing it on the floor, and I think it's a very useful skill, if anything, or movement to learn, because let's say, for example, this is the only amount of space that I have and I wasn't in a park. For example, in this case, I'm in a park, but if I was on a holiday, let's say, I can just kick up into a handstand and start doing handstand press-ups, and right there, without a gym or any assistance, I don't need anyone, I don't need anything. All I need is a small space, basically, and I can do my handstand press-ups. So that's a shoulder workout that I have at my disposal. No matter where I am, I can just jump into the handstand and start doing handstand press-ups. So that's one reason to learn it. Another reason to learn a handstand press-up, or the pike press up, as you see here, because you have to start with the pike press up, is simply because of the amount of shoulder gains that you can get from it. So yeah, anyway, moving on to some Russian dips. As you see here, I'm going down, back, forward, and then back up again. So this movement is a dynamic movement, and for most people it will be tricky to learn it, but if you take your time, you can learn it. I will be putting out a tutorial on how you can learn the Russian dip, so stay tuned for that. This movement is mainly going to incorporate your triceps. Your chest is also worked at the bottom, so right here you're using your chest, but for the most part it's going to be a tricep movement because you're throwing your body weight around like this. Your triceps are being used to stabilize your body. There's a bit of core as well, but it's mainly your tricep. I really like this movement because it's, as I said, a dynamic movement, and basically you're going to be using a lot of explosive muscle fibers and muscle power. So if you want to do this slowly, it's going to be basically impossible. So you need to kind of be explosive with it. So that's really why I like it. It's something different. No balance or control needed. It's more about just pure strength and being aggressive on the bars. So that's really good. Personally, I want to be able to then do like a handstand, for example. So if I do the Russian dips, then I can do the handstand after without letting go of the bar, but I need to strengthen the Russian dips first. And yeah, pretty much this is it. So it's a good exercise. Also, yeah, I don't know why, but this park has two sets of handlebars that are the same height, as you can see. So it would be better if one was a bit higher and the other one was lower, because I have to kind of bend my legs a little bit or like lean my legs forward, as you can see here. But it would be a lot better if I could just go straight up and down. But yeah, these are the Russian dips. One of the first exercises actually that I wanted to learn when I got into calisthenics, because it just, I don't know, it looked cool to me, and it kind of summarizes calisthenics in general. It's like very functional, and it's an exercise that you can't do without explosive muscle power, basically. So I liked it a lot. Anyway, so I finished off with the handstand holds here. As you saw there, I nearly fell out of it, but I managed to control it. So one thing about handstands, which a lot of people I think don't know, is that a hold for 5 seconds where you're trying to fight and not fall to the ground is better than a hold for 8 or 10 seconds where you just kick up and you start holding it without fighting at all. So the point of fighting is, what I mean is that if gravity is trying to bring you down and you're fighting against it, that's basically what you're doing in your training. That's the whole point of training a handstand. So if you just kick up and you hold it without having to fight anything, unless, or like, the only people that can do that are people who have been training handstands for years. But if you're starting out and you want to build up your handstand, you should seek more sets where, you know, like you like kick up and you're calm, but at the same time it's like you're trying to fight the fall. So it's like if you kick up and you just hold it, then you didn't really build any strength, because you kind of got lucky in a way. But if you kick up and it's like your legs are trying to drag you down and you keep fighting it, and like here, like for example, as you saw, my leg nearly fell to the ground, but I readjusted. That is worth more than just kicking up and holding it, because it means that I'm learning how to actually control my body weight. But anyway, I just finished off with some nice straight handstands, which I'm happy with, and yeah, that's this episode wrapped up.